This is for me, um, a memoir. I see a lot of people posting things, Duncan for life, Duncan, and Duncan is not a mythical place. It was real. It was real, real. For all the people that wasn't there in the 70s, that's from Duncan, it used to be complete black asphalt with about 9, 10 basketball courts, glass and hard rocks. The basketball courts were rusting out in front of 7 and 1, 2 and 3. But the structure of how it was set up was so different than the way you saw it in the late 70s and 80s and all the way through until they destroyed it. It never looked like that when I first came down there. If you fell on the ground, you was in for a treat because the rocks were hard and glass was everywhere. It was old then. In 73, 72, it was old then. And I was every bit of 11, 12 years old. But Duncan grew up and it changed for the better. A lot of people that come from Duncan, and I'm not going to name names, but a lot of people that came from Duncan, they tried to forget about it, as if they have another past, as if the recent past that they've created from Duncan doesn't exist. I could never, ever, and I've been around the world twice since I left Duncan, could never, ever, ever separate myself from my upbringing, nor will I want to, from Duncan Projects. I'm proud of it. I didn't realize that we pretty much all were kind of poor until I saw the world. But me not having a gang of money did not mean that I couldn't be the best that I could be. It did not mean that I wasn't incredibly talented in recognizing situations and people because of all the different personalities that were down Duncan and that came from Duncan. If I think of a gregarious, bubbly personality like Trina Ford, Lynette Timberlake, of course, these are the girls that I liked, but nevertheless, they were there. Yolanda Majors. The guys, of course, Willie Blue, Farron Mumford, Tony Mumford, Sean Jones, James McKnight, the McKnight sisters themselves, the Washingtons in my building. The list is on and on and on. And these are all unbelievable different personalities that the projects exposed you to. These personalities that these people that I just a small minuscule of people that I just named, all those personalities exist out here in the world. Of course, those people are unique within themselves, but their personality traits, other people have them. So Duncan taught me on how to deal with a lot of personalities, which has been tremendous help in my life. Something I would never, ever, ever, ever would want to part from, and it was a school lesson growing up in the J's Duncan Projects that's irreplaceable. Enough with that seriousness. I just wanted to name some people that I remember without doing all the writing on Facebook all the time, and say some things just right off the top of my head without writing anything down. First of all, I'd like to apologize to Carla Perkins for kind of pushing her in the snow after school in PS 39 all the time. Javis Bell and I, we had a knack for that. And I'm sorry, Carla, I'm sure you're gorgeous. You were gorgeous then. I just didn't like the fact that you were taller than me. Sean Jones, you were just fat. And you had a beautiful family, and your mother had plastic on her couches, and she, you know, they were beautiful. Your house was beautiful, and she never took the plastic off those couches. And in the summertime, it was very irritating, but she could cook some good goddamn food. And she raised a nice fat son who could shoot the shit out of that basketball, but he's still a punk. Wooly Blue, fresh from Carolina, couldn't talk a bit. His country accent was so heavy, everybody used to laugh at him. But what a hell of a guy, what a hell of an athlete, what a hell of a family he came from. And him and Scope, one building, y'all produce so many people that I love. It's just unbelievable. I also would like to mention the McKnight family, Wanda, Rosetta and Stella, Miss McKnight, James Jr., of course, my great running back friend, big brother and brother to the McKnight girls, who meant a lot to me and my family over these years and still do. Miss McKnight was the sweetest in the world. I never felt unwanted on that first floor, and I love the McKnights, and that's just the way it is. I would also like to give a special shout out to the Curry family from 7 Building, who, if it wasn't for Willie Curry, Eric, and Greg, of course, I don't think I would have had the athletic career, Michael Curry, of course, that I had. And Willie Curry was definitely a very, very big part of it. So was Greg, so was Dunk. I can't equally separate those Curry boys, but I got so much respect for the Curry family. And I'm not even going to leave Susan Curry out, because what a hell of a baseball player she was, and a lot of people probably don't remember, but I damn sure do. Duncan for life. Of course, my idols, Felix Bryant, Eric Williams, just to name 2 right off the bat. Incredible grown men that I thought and I knew that made a very, very big impact in my life. I wanted to be like both of them. Actually, I wore Eric Williams' number in high school, which was number 1 at Dickinson High School. I had to get permission to wear that number, for all those who didn't know. And I think the only other person that wore it after me was my man Housey Mo, Big House. So that came from Eric Williams. So thank you, Eric, for being the superstar that you was, and thank you, Felix, for being the superstar that you was to me as well. Now, this video doesn't mean anything, but God forbid if I get hit by a truck, you know what I mean? I still want people to know how I feel about them. This is not going to be the first one. I'm going to put up some more. So, and I hope all you cats do that as well, so that we can see and hear your thoughts about us going forward, about your experience down there, because it wasn't all good, but it damn sure wasn't all bad. And just to say that the projects, you know, to say the word projects, everybody thinks that has a negative connotation. Well, when I was young, there was no place I'd rather be than right down there. And we went a lot of places, but I always wanted to come home. And never ashamed of where I came from. No way. No way in hell. I'd just like to thank some of my friends just for being my friends at the time. I've already mentioned James McKnight and Willie Blue. Definitely got a shout out. My man Javis Bell, Farron Mumford, Tony Mumford, Lance Mumford, Leonard Dennis, Albert Lewis, Darren McCray. I'm talking about my tight-knit crew that I could see every day. Leonard Dennis, the tight-knit crew that stuck by 1 and 7 Building daily, where you could find us every day, all day. I love those guys, and we went to school every morning. DJ, God rest your soul, my man DJ, Sean Jones, of course, I've already mentioned. That crew right there was my crew that I considered. and we took that crew and did a lot of things, football and basketball as well. The Bombers, the Bears, Chris Wilkins, Chauncey Carter, all my mates on the field, all the people who helped me get a scholarship out of the projects. If you look at that now, that was pretty huge accomplishment. But thanks to those people, I was able to accomplish that. Thanks to a lot of those people, I was able to accomplish that. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my mom, who was a sweetheart in one sense, but everybody thought she was very mean. She had a very, very big sense of humor, and she was very strict. Of course, I was on punishment more than anybody can even imagine. But I wasn't up. It wasn't idle time. We were up there reading a lot and writing a lot. And a lot of people, I couldn't ever show that side of me because I was too busy being a jokester and joking around a lot in the projects and cracking jokes on others, pretty much to hide the real nerdy side that I really was. And that developed from being on punishment a lot, reading a lot of those books. I was in a lot of places in my head. So I was a real nerd, but I couldn't show it. And but I'm a big nerd now in a sense. But not too big of a nerd, but definitely I've been called a nerd. But I'm not going to bore you with this. I may not even post it. But I know I missed a few people. Of course, Junior Gosha, who was a very big influence in my life. Phil Ford, who was a very, very big influence in my life as far as talking to Sean McClary, Anthony McClary before he left, Kiwi and Jerome Pascal, Michael Robinson, little Michael Robinson on the second floor, Betty's Michael Robinson, and Big Michael Robinson on the fifth floor, Miss Annie's Michael Robinson. Was very, very, and of course was very important to me. The Sullins brothers, Elston Renzo, and Abby, of course, were tremendous in my life. Just being there, they always were there in their own way. We had an incredible building, and I'm sure everybody thinks that their building was the best, and I'm no different. So for the first segment on Duncan Memoirs, Tony Merritt, aka T-Rock, signing out. I love you all. From Duncan, I love you all. 1.